She laughed coldly. "A broke black guy like you? Please. You'll never have anything I want." The room went quiet, eyes darting, whispers rising. He stood there, humiliated, his worn jacket and tired shoes becoming the only thing anyone seemed to notice. She walked away with her head high, certain she had left him broken. But what she didn't know was that in just minutes, the truth would turn everything upside down. Tell us in comments, have you ever been judged too soon? Before we begin, hit subscribe. It's appreciated. Marcus was just an ordinary guy in the eyes of most people. He worked long shifts, often coming home late, his clothes carrying the smell of hard labor. To strangers, he looked like someone struggling to get by, nothing flashy about him. He didn't flaunt money, didn't wear expensive clothes, and drove an old car that coughed with every start. But behind that simple exterior, Marcus carried dreams much bigger than what anyone could see. He had spent years building something in silence, pouring every extra dollar, every sleepless night, into a vision no one else believed in. He lived in a small apartment, ate simple meals, and kept to himself. To the outside world, he was invisible, just another face people overlooked. But Marcus didn't mind. He believed that one day the world would finally see the man behind the quiet sacrifice. What kept him going was the memory of his mother's words. "They may not see your worth now, but keep building. One day they'll regret underestimating you." Those words became his anchor. Still, he couldn't escape the sting of how people treated him. On the streets, in stores, and especially in relationships, Marcus felt the weight of judgment before he could even open his mouth. That judgment came crashing down hardest when he met Vanessa. Beautiful, confident, and sharp-tongued, she noticed Marcus, but only saw what he lacked. To her, he was a project gone wrong, someone beneath her standards. And though Marcus treated her with kindness, she dismissed him with arrogance, making it clear he wasn't enough. Not for her, not for anyone in her circle. But life has a way of turning the tables. Marcus knew something she didn't, something that would soon leave her shocked. He carried a secret, one that would change how she looked at him forever. What would you do if someone judged your entire worth just by your appearance? Marcus thought he had gotten used to it. The sidelong glances, the snide remarks, the way people's eyes slid past him as though he didn't belong. But Vanessa's rejection hit different. It wasn't just that she turned him down, it was the way she did it, loud enough for everyone around to hear. She smirked at his old car, mocked his clothes, and even questioned why he thought he had a chance with her in the first place. The words dug deep, not because they were true, but because she meant for them to humiliate him. He walked away that night, silent, carrying the sting in his chest. But inside, the fire was growing hotter. Vanessa wasn't the first to look down on him for being a black man without the polished image society worships. Employers, landlords, even strangers at restaurants had treated him like less. And still, he kept moving, building in the shadows. What no one knew was that Marcus owned more than just an old car and a cluttered apartment. Behind the scenes, he had turned his late-night hours into a thriving online business. While others slept, he was coding, marketing, shipping. The sacrifices stacked up, and slowly he bought property, then more. By the time Vanessa called him broke, Marcus had already signed the papers for a mansion tucked behind gated walls. But life tested him again before that truth surfaced. At a gathering where Vanessa happened to be, he noticed how quickly people changed their tone depending on who they were speaking to. Men in suits got respect. Women draped in designer clothes got admiration. And Marcus? He got the fake smiles and subtle whispers. One guy even muttered that he was probably just there to serve drinks. The sting was familiar. But this time, Marcus didn't flinch. Vanessa was the loudest voice in that crowd, laughing as she told her friends she had dodged a bullet by not entertaining him. They nodded in agreement, eyes sliding over Marcus like he was invisible. What none of them realized was that he was listening, every word cutting, every laugh fueling the storm inside him. Still, he didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He simply smiled, knowing that soon everything would change. Because what Vanessa and her friends didn't know was that an invitation was already waiting for them. An invitation to a housewarming party that would expose the truth. The mansion Marcus had quietly bought was about to become the stage where masks fell and real faces were revealed. And when Vanessa saw it with her own eyes, her laughter would vanish. What do you think happens when people finally realize the one they look down on is the one standing above them all along? The night of the party arrived, and Marcus stood at the grand entrance of his new home. The mansion stretched wide behind him, its marble floors gleaming under the lights, chandeliers swaying above like crowns. Expensive cars lined the driveway, a scene so far removed from the image Vanessa once mocked. Guests poured in, whispering in awe, their eyes wide as they took in the luxury. And then came Vanessa. She walked up the steps with her usual air of superiority, heels clicking, expecting to mingle with the wealthy. But when her eyes met Marcus at the door, her smirk faltered. For a second, she couldn't process it. The man she had once dismissed as broke was now greeting guests at a mansion she couldn't have even dreamed of affording. Her face turned pale, but Marcus said nothing. He simply welcomed her inside, calm and collected as though her cruel words had never touched him. That silence cut her deeper than any insult could. Every corner she turned in the house was a reminder of the truth. She had judged too soon, too harshly, and now she was standing in the proof of her mistake. The whispers spread quickly. People who had once laughed with her now exchanged glances, some shaking their heads. The power had shifted, and Vanessa knew it. Her pride crumbled with every step through those polished halls. Desperation hit her like a wave. She cornered Marcus in the garden, her voice soft, almost pleading. She tried to rewrite the story, claiming she didn't mean it, and that she had always seen potential in him. But Marcus didn't need her validation anymore. Her words were empty, her desperation obvious. The moment burned with intensity, her arrogance stripped away, her pride shattered. And Marcus, standing tall, no longer invisible, no longer dismissed. But here's the question. Should he forgive her attempt to crawl back? Or should he walk away and let her drown in her own regret? What would you do in his place? Vanessa's voice cracked as she begged for another chance, but Marcus only looked at her, calm and steady. He thought back to every insult, every laugh at his expense, every moment he was made to feel small because of the color of his skin and the clothes he wore. Now, standing in the glow of his hard-earned success, he understood something deeper. This was never about her. It was about proving to himself and to the world that no amount of judgment could define his worth. He didn't lash out. He didn't humiliate her the way she had done to him. Instead, he offered nothing but silence and a steady gaze, then turned away to greet other guests. That choice said more than words ever could. Vanessa's desperation only grew, but it was too late. She had shown her true heart, and Marcus had no reason to let her back into his life. As the night unfolded, Marcus felt the weight of years of struggle lifting. His mansion wasn't just brick and stone. It was a testament to resilience, sacrifice, and the refusal to bow to society's prejudices. For every person who had overlooked him, he stood as living proof that worth isn't worn on the outside. But this story is bigger than Marcus and Vanessa. It's about how quick people are to judge, especially when race and status intersect. How many times are people dismissed, humiliated, or underestimated, not because of who they are, but because of how the world chooses to see them? And the real question is, how many more times will it take before we start looking beyond appearances? If you've ever been judged too soon, or if you've ever seen someone's true worth revealed, share your thoughts in the comments. Stories like these matter because they remind us all. Success is the greatest answer to prejudice. Show some love with a like, and subscribe to stay inspired.